All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to From the Beach to the Bar. My name is Ben Natick. I am a personal injury attorney. To my left is my life partner, Jess Matsuda, also a personal injury attorney. And to our right is our lovely assistant and family member, not really, Seiji Lopez. Today, we're talking about insurance fraud. I think everybody saw there's a video out there about somebody backing up into an individual. We're going to watch it and then have a couple of conversations. So let's get started. All right. So we're in Florida, I'm guessing, or somewhere thereabouts. Somebody stopping in front of a car, going forward a little bit. Wait for it. Oh, do it again. Do it again. Here's the best part. She keeps going. Like the chick in the back keeps going. Somebody rear-ended you or ended you. The dude in the car. And so did you see where they put up the little partition and they switch spots? Just what color are they all wearing? Oh, a little bit of black, a little bit of yellow. Wait for it. Wait until they see the dash cam.
The real life dash cams.
That's priceless. Oh,
Oh,
there it is.
oh,
Oh, I saw the
Yeah,
dash cam.
but
Yeah, that chick didn't see it.
but if you notice, there was a Kia that pulled in front of them and picked up one of the people that were in the car.
Oh, wait, play it again. I totally missed.
I thought it was just someone that was concerned
No.
to pull over too.
That's what I thought at first, but
Watch
here,
it.
look, that guy that gets out the car.
The
Watch
red-
it. So there's
We
these
got
three.
three people. I totally missed that, Seiji. Thank you.
Oh, it's passenger seat, right?
Yeah,
That's almost
and he's gonna get out
So,
and watch.
But what's the Kia person do?
It's just right there in front of the car.
Oh, okay. It's not like they're like trying to do.
Nope.
They're just running.
He's gonna just walk away a little bit.
Some additional witnesses situation.
Yep. And then he
And that's
takes
when
off.
Homie sees the camera.
Yep,
Yeah.
sees the camera,
She
and
does.
the guy
Nope.
takes off.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good call. Like he texts him or something down there because you see him look down.
He was actually behind the car. Look, that's the Kia.
Cut someone off and
Oh, so this is the dash cam. They had a front
Behind.
and rear
Yeah,
dash
They
cam.
have both. Yes.
Okay.
That's crazy.
But wait, I thought it happened in the other lane. Oh. He's already
This
got
is
his
the back.
He already knew. He
Yeah,
already has emergency brake lights off. Why should she go forward though? That's my question.
and it sounds so dumb too.
All right, guys. So let's talk about this. What did we just see other than a hot mess? What we saw there is what we call insurance fraud or a setup accident. And Just didn't you say that this guy just got arrested?
yeah, I just heard on the radio today. The gentleman in that video was just arrested. I thought it was New Jersey or New York that he was arrested, and he was trying to pull off another insurance fraud.
That's crazy that they would want to do another one.
It's
After-
career. Here's the situation, guys. Like this is insurance fraud. We see it all the time. In the state of Nevada, it's category D felony. It's 1 to 4 years in Nevada State Prison, fine of up to $5,000. Plus, you have to pay the insurance company all the money that you benefit from this. It's called disgorgement. This is what I'm going to tell you. This is a plaintiff side personal injury attorney's person's worst nightmare. The last thing we want to do is be involved in anything that involves fraud, because not only does it make us look bad, potentially it exposes us to criminal liability that we don't want. So it does happen. We try to avoid it. We try to screen cases, but every now and then somebody will get away with it. There are people in this world who treat personal injury accidents as their career. Now, here's a couple of issues. Like, we talk about the criminal a lot, try not to, but we do. This guy, you said he was arrested in Jersey, right?
Jersey, I think it's Brooklyn, so New York.
The problem is that as soon as you cross state lines and you keep doing this and it's insurance fraud, you expose yourself to federal prosecution, which causes additional issues. The fact that you are attempting to get money from another individual through a fraudulent act is considered wire fraud. And so you could do some serious big boy time. Just that this is probably the biggest argument for getting a dash cam on the face of the land.
And my assistant, she but she has a dash cam, and she's always had one because she was in an accident like this, where someone ran into her and claimed that she was at fault, but luckily she had a dash cam. And I would recommend it to most people because it records what actually happened. If you have a dash cam or a rear facing camera, records what actually happened. don't always want to rely on someone else's statements or views of what happened, because if they're adverse to yours, it might not come out as true.
Okay, I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here just because I'm old. First off, I'm a shitty driver, so you'll never see a dash cam in my car. Here's the situation. If you are worried about an accident, get a dash cam. And I'm going to go into this in a second, but I'm going to bring it back to my other rant. Insurance companies often want you to put their little device on their car so that they can give you a safe driver discount. Bullshit. Don't ever do it. Because what they're doing is they're using your data for free. And what you are doing is you are telling them your driving tendencies so they can use it against you when it comes to insurance rates. So if you ever see those driver discount, safe driver discount things, never do it, because it's not going to save you money. It's only going to fuck you in the long term. I remembered. Light bulb. So dash cams. Let's talk about dash cams. Here is why a dash cam is a brilliant idea for people who are not like me and can actually drive. What happens in a lot of situations when you're in an accident is that you'll call the police and say, hey, we're in an accident. The officers will say, okay, we'll be there in 5 hours. That is literally not a joke. Sometimes they are so busy handling other claims, they're not going to be there. And what happens is you will have a situation where you get in an accident. The person on the other side is totally apologetic. Hey, I'm sorry. It's my fault. Let's exchange information. Let's not wait for the cops because 5 hours is so long. That's ridiculous. And you're thinking, hey, this is a good person. They admitted fault. Everything's cool. So that fucker's out of your presence. What do? They tell the insurance company, they tell their insurance company, this is what happened. And they blame you. And so it turns a decent case into a situation where now you're going to have to fight for your money. But to save yourself the heartache, there's a couple of things you can do. One, get a dash cam front and rear so that there's no question about how the accident happened. Two, while you're talking to that individual, record what's going on. And I don't say you have to hold your phone up and sit there like this, but just hold your phone open so that you're recording the conversation. Telephone call in this state, both parties have to be aware of it. It's called a two-party consent state. However, using a voice memo is not a phone call, so it is not two-party consent in that situation. So you're allowed to record somebody talking to you in person regarding this situation. And any situation where you're in an accident, one, if you don't have a dash cam, record it in some fashion, or two, wait for the police. Because if you don't, it makes your case hard. You can fix that. But why put yourself through the heartache of having to? What do you think about it?
I agree. You can't really rely on someone's word. So it's always best to have some kind of evidence on what transpired, what happened. Because when, say you actually do get hit and the other person says, look, I'm sorry, my bad, I did it, I caused it, I'll pay, whatever. If that other person contacts their insurance company or their insurance company contacts them, they might have a change of heart saying, you know what, maybe that wasn't my fault. Maybe you're liable. Maybe you paid me. Or you caused this accident. So you never know what is going to transpire between the time the accident occurs and when the other person talks to their insurance company. Their story might change.
So let's say their story did change. Do they face any consequences?
In that situation, Metro, NHP, policing authority is going to show up. They're going to do an investigation. They might write a citation to the party that's at fault. Sometimes they don't know. Sometimes they don't write a citation. But if a party is trying to intentionally give misinformation, they could be liable for fraud.
However, cops never show up. What happens to that person?
So you exchange information and you didn't dash cam or anything like that. They admitted their fault and then they turn around, they make the claim against you. I guess their consequence would be that they're placed at fault.
Going to what Ben was saying is if no one shows up, then it's going to be a he said, she said, right?
Let me fix this. They do face consequences because we will sue the shit out. Both of us have enough trial experience to where something like this is not an issue at the time of trial. But what the insurance companies will make you think is that this case isn't worthy of going. We'll assess it. We'll go through it. And we will fight on your behalf, especially in this area. Because, man, if somebody's going to lie, it's fine. We'll just catch you in it. We do it all day long. Here's the dirty little secret, in my opinion, is unlike criminal cases, when it comes to personal injury cases, these cases really boil down to a popularity. What side does the jury like better? You better, or do they like the other side? And obviously, the facts play into it to a certain. But in a situation where the facts are in question, it's our job to prepare you, to get you ready to face that jury, answer the tough questions, and show why you are telling the truth and the other side is full of shit.
I totally agree. 100%. In our experience as criminal defense attorneys and personal injury attorneys, when you go to trial, it really is who the jurors can relate to and who they like better. And we've been on both sides of jury trials where you either have the facts and the evidence with you or against you, and you're thinking it's going one way, but the jurors will attach or latch on to some insignificant
At least
part.
you think it's
It's not legally relevant. It may not be factually relevant to the case, but it turns out that when you speak to the jurors after, and that's a good part about doing a jury, is you can speak to the jurors after a trial and you can ask them questions on why you decided the case the way you did. And sometimes their responses blow your mind because it's, I didn't like the tie you wore on the second day of trial, or I didn't like the way you spoke to a witness. I didn't like the way you spoke to the judge, or I didn't like the way you spoke to the counsel.
client smiled too much when he was testifying.
It's just weird things that have no relevancy to the case at all, but they latch on to that and they harp on it. And it's because jurors are human. They're just like us. They're normal people. And it's just like meeting a person at the bar. You get a good vibe from someone or you don't. They say one wrong thing and you're like, I don't like that. He said something that just rubs me the wrong way. I don't like it. Jurors are the same way. If they don't like something that you say or do in your trial, it's always going to be in the back of their mind. It's going to affect their decision and their verdict.
And how often do personal injury cases go?
Not that often. Honestly, I think it's the 95. It's something over the 90s settled before trial. And that's one of the things is, even if we go to litigation, the case will probably settle. If it settles beforehand, great. Like I said, when we're fighting, 9 times out of 10, we're fighting about money. We're not fighting about whose fault it is. But when we do have to fight about whose fault it is, we believe you, and we're going to be going for you, and we're going to be gunning hard for that other side.
Had clients that were scared to go to because they weren't prepared enough.
No, because if it comes down to preparation, we're going to take care of it. If it's something else, yeah, some people aren't good with public speaking. We try to settle those. But in a situation where we know you're not at fault, we know you're a good person, we're going to fight like hell, and we're going to make sure that we can do everything we can to take care of you.
She didn't know that this was insurance fraud when this was all happening until she posted a video. Then she realized that it was insurance fraud.
Okay.
She had no knowledge that this was insurance fraud.
So now we're looking at the video of when the insurance fraudster's car is found. But here's the situation. This is one of the beauties of social media. I'm not the biggest fan of social media because I think people are super mean. But here they're very helpful. They're tracking these people down. They're identifying what they did. I'm guaranteeing you that social media led to the arrest that happened recently. But these people are helping her out. She did the right thing. She had the dash cam. She obviously videotapes what goes on. First thing she does is she calls the officers to give a description of what she says happened. Obviously, she's new to this, never been in trouble, didn't realize it was fraud until people helped her out on social media and told her, like, hey, this is what's going on. Cameras are everywhere, and the majority of the time they help. And this is definitely a situation where it does, but she did follow the correct steps afterwards. She called the police. She gave them the information they needed, the number of people, driver's license, license plate, card type, things of that nature. All the things needed to A, identify the person, B, describe the situation, and C, make sure the proper people are helping.
My question is, why is that guy he saw the camera.
He did.
Why is he still trying to play it off?
You got to sell it.
Yeah.
I agree. She knows she had the dash cam video, so she can prove what happened. In that situation, though, because it was so blatant, I would say, don't even tell them, look, I saw what you did. I have it on dash cam. You just play it off. We'll exchange information. Let's call the cops. We'll wait. We'll give them the information. And then you let your insurance company or the officer know that you have this video of what happened. Because if the other people are that blatant or that brazen, you don't know they're capable.
Yeah. How do they prove that she didn't slam into them? It wasn't for the dash.
All right. I just had the light bulb moment. There's something in your car. They call it a little black box. Kind of like when airplanes crash, you got this little black box. There's actually a thing in everybody's car. It's a data recorder. And it will tell what happened in a situation. And so we actually use them quite often, and insurance companies try to threaten us with them as well. It's funny. But there's a data recorder. So what the data recorder of both cars will show is that car, the car that was technically not at fault, actually wasn't at fault, was driving at a certain speed and doing certain things. The data recorder in the other person's car will show that it stopped. It'll show that it backed up and hit the individual. So that data recorder in a situation like that where you don't have dash cam, that's what you're going to go to in order to protect.
Is there a wrong way to talk to the other party that you just got in?
100%. I am guilty of this. 100% guilty of it. When you get in an accident, you're pissed, and especially if you're not at fault, right? So you get out of the car and you're like, just happened. Oftentimes what happens is officers will show up. They'll see somebody who doesn't necessarily have my skin tone, who is an aggressive and hostile manner, and they will immediately decide to think that person is a problem when they actually were probably the person who was the victim in the case. Unfortunately, righteous anger can get you in trouble. So what I tell people all the time, especially if you're not white, is to be calm, address the other side, and have as little contact as you can. Exchange information, do a little bit of talking, wait for the officers to arrive. Get heated. If you want to get in a fight, it's only going to hurt your case. I understand it. Trust me, but you should.
A little easier said than done, but it is a very stressful situation. Tensions are high because everyone loves their vehicle, and if it's wrecked or ruined or in an accident and you don't think you're at fault, you're going to be upset. But the best thing is to exchange information, everyone keep a level.
So going off of what you said, minorities have a hard.
Here's the situation. You prep for that. We talk about preparation a lot, right? That's one of the things you prepare for when you're picking the jury, when you're talking to your client about what you wear, how you speak, things of that nature. Prep for that. I think real talk, I think everybody knows that minorities have a harder time at everything. But the key is to prep for it and make sure that you can overcome. That's always the goal. Get your pay, get your fix up.
Have you guys ever had a client that was very angry or aggravated, but they were the victim?
Yes, I've actually had criminal cases dismissed in situations like that. Cause the personal injury part to be a little bit harder because they're like, they were charged with a crime. They were charged with a crime because you hit him, asshole. It can cause issues. Like I said, the less contact you have, especially if you're heated, it is better. Do what you're supposed to do, exchange information, talk to them, take photos before you move the cars, then move the cars. That's what
I have friends that sometimes they get into like little fender benders and they don't go through the whole process of getting an attorney. So is it worth an accident for a minor car accident to get in?
Yes, I understand the whole, it's complicated, it's time consuming, I don't want to talk to an attorney, I want to do
therapy,
all of that stuff, but when
my job.
You're in a small accident like that, you never know how serious it is. It could be just like a 5 mile per hour bump. Everyone's fine, not too much property damage. As a personal injury attorney, you see a lot of soft tissue damage, right? A lot of injuries, that can come from minor impact. So you never know, and this is speaking right after an accident. You always want to consult an attorney because you never know how injured you are, or if you are injured, you might want to go and see what your legal options are, what you can do with your insurance companies, or what you can do in terms of seeking out help, because you never know. You never know if you are injured. That accident suppresses any kind of injuries you have. So it's always advisable to seek out an attorney just to see if everything will. That's
building off this, and this is, I like to call it the ridiculous scenario, but it's actually a scenario. Say you're like a heavier person and you're prone to getting blood, okay? And say you're on some form of blood thinner or something like that, but say you get in an accident and you have a blood clot, and you get in the accident and the accident causes the blood clot to be dislodged. That means it could travel through your bloodstream, reach your heart, you could have a heart attack and theoretically die. It sounds ridiculous. It really does. Really admit it. However, this can happen. A minor accident, a minor fender bender where there's little damage, if you have an underlying condition, can lead to some very serious things. Really something you have to worry about and look out for.
We have had clients that they found that they had cancer because of the accident.
You're right. You're not lying. Yeah, like there have been individuals who literally had no idea they had a serious issue. They got in an accident, they went to the doctors, and lo and behold, you had cancer. And that's a hard conversation to have. That's a real hard conversation to have.
And I had also had friends that I guess have been in multiple accidents. Actually, a cousin of mine, worse. But how, if you, by getting into maybe 2 or 3 accidents, maybe even in the year.
Here's the thing. Your cousin, like your cousin setting this shit up. You know what I mean? Like some people, it's just bad luck. Some people are shitty drivers. Some things just happen.
Yeah, it could be pure bad luck. Wrong place, wrong time.
But to be fair, do insurance companies realize that? Do they look at it? 100%. It's our job to explain why this keeps happening. Sometimes life happens. Sometimes you'll get 2 in a row. Sometimes 3 and 3. It's our job to explain that. But it's not your job to make it a career.
And going off the insurance companies, so are they allowed to raise any monthly?
Yes.
Yeah, any insurance company's gonna,
Even if you're not at fault?
Yes.
yeah,
There's nothing written. The only thing you can't do is if you have something called underinsured motorist. Okay, by law, if you use your underinsured motorist coverage, like they by law cannot raise your rates, cannot drop you for that. Look, if you get in like a bunch of accidents, even if they're not your fault, is your insurance company going to raise your rate? Yeah, they might say they're not going to or it's illegal to, but come on. If you cost them money, real talk, they're going to raise your rate. The only time they can't do it, like I said, is if you use that UIM, that underinsured motorist.
And if they do raise it, is it like a certain amount of time, or they can just bit right one?
What is it, 3 years? I think it's 3
I
years
think
they're
look back
allowed to
is-
retain the information.
I think the look back is 3 years, but if you just think about insurance companies as a whole, their whole business model is
Making projections.
yeah, they're insuring you based on risk factors.
Ben, are you high risk for insurance?
No, no, I'm not.
That is what we call uninsured.
But what a bit of it. In an accident.
Dude, knock on wood. Knock on wood.
Not for that statement.
Someone become uninsured?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, definitely. If you show a pattern of consistent disregard for traffic laws, or if you're always in accidents, you get DUIs.
Yeah, remember that one? There was an attorney in town. I remember this. I forget his name. He had to ride a bike everywhere, and he had to live downtown
Oh.
because he had so many DUIs. Like nobody would insure him, and he couldn't get his license. I know
I don't-
exactly. I know his name.
Uninsurable, you obviously can't drive.
In the state of Nevada, you have to have
Wait.
insurance to operate a vehicle.
To ride a bike, right?
You can ride a bike, it's not motorized.
It depends on
Like those fucking one wheel things,
I know.
which are weird.
who has to get. Can you get a DUI on that shit?
You've got to be able to, right?
If the engine has enough power, I'm assuming it's going to be
Well, it's
classified as a motor
35
vehicle.
cc's, right?
No, I thought it was 55. No.
No, it's 50 cc's, 35 miles an hour. You're
But I think that might be a DMV requirement. That might not be a criminal code. But you can get a BUI, right? On a bicycle.
You cannot.
Yes, you
everybody
can,
said-
man. I thought you could get a
you can't.
BUI.
No.
Oh, man.
Here's the thing. This is what everybody with the fucking biking under the influence. Let me tell you something.
Biking.
In California, everything is codified under the DMV, under the driving manual. Or I don't even.
Pause. What are bi-
Yeah. It's qualified under the vehicle code. That's what it is. Vehicle code is what decides the DUI. So bicycles, no motor, can't be in the vehicle.
There has to be a city ordinance saying if you're
city
riding city ordinance or Z74. There has to be a San Diego city ordinance saying you can't ride a bicycle drunk on the boardwalk.
So say you're uninsurable. Are you able to use somebody else's insurance?
No.
Be underneath somebody's insurance?
No. The reason being is this. There are exclusions, and everybody's policy is going to have exclusions. Usually it's for roommates and things of that nature. If you're uninsurable, then 100% they will know about it, one. And two, like your wife's insurance are going to be like, oh, can you go into that? No, it's not like health insurance. They can specifically exclude you and say that dude's out because he drives like shit.
But if you're like this, the most unlucky person in the world, and you're consistently getting into accidents, you can be like,
No, there's no DUI force either.
yeah, it's a motorized vehicle. It's probably
That's true. Yes.
Oh, no,
You
yeah,
are
yeah.
correct.
I thought you said you can't.
I don't know. Like, I would pay money to see you on a horse because I don't think those little fucking legs would fit around a horse.
Even like a bike is it's not motorized.
If it's not motorized, no. This one's important, as
Yes.
Abriella and Anthony are laughing at me. Fucking guy. Electric bikes, not electric dirt bikes, but they have these electric bikes now that all the kids ride around on. And if you ever go on the Nextdoor app, everybody's always, oh, those damn kids on their bikes. They're like, again, it's the funniest shit
Only
ever.
old people going next door. Yeah, man. That's true.
But those are the Nextdoor. White people in their 40s, bro. Electric bikes are this thing that I don't know the answer to the question yet. We had somebody call in the other day who said that they were turning into their housing complex. And so they're making a left-hand turn, and somebody in their electric bike's in the bike lane and boom, T-boned their car, fucked up their car. He said, I'm fine. And I said, I can't help you then. But I don't know the answer to electric bikes and what the consequences of accidents with those are yet. I am learning that. I'm investigating it. Clearly, that's a new area of law. The odds are pretty good. I'm going to sue the shit out of somebody for it soon.
So you meant, yeah, okay. So Ben mentioned that he was fine because he was just in the car and not the kid that just hit, or kid that ran into the bike. So Ben wouldn't be able to help him. So is it just bodily injury, property, personal property that we've been?
How are you both?
For the record,
Both?
no, man. Yes, we can help you out with
But-
your personal injury, your bodily injury, and your property damage. However, we don't take any money for the property damage. That's all you, because we want your car to be taken care of. We take money from the bodily injury portion. So can we help you? Can we answer your questions about property damage? 100%. And we don't mind helping you out with that at all. But we're not going to sign you as a client for property damage because we're not taking any money for that.
I see.
Okay, so is there a difference in between getting into an accident with a ride share versus a driver?
Financially, yeah. Most of the rideshare companies, your policy when you're in the app is about $1.5 million. It's actually closer to 20 mil. They just don't tell you. A normal driver, their policies can be anywhere from $25,000 and up. But with the app, the Uber Lyft policies, I believe, last time I checked, are about $1 million. That's like to encourage you to get in an accident with an Uber driver. Trust me, it's not fun, very unpleasant, and it takes forever.
So have you had personal experience representing a case like this?
Yes. The insurance company was investigating the Uber driver, because some of them, it looks like we're in on it. But yeah, it was fucking insane because you think about, there were like, 32 bodies. And then it's $1.5 million policy. So on $1.5 million policy, you're going to treat it for 8 separate ones. So what's that, $12 million? So I think the medicals on that, not from, because it was a stupid fucking title, fuck that. But I think the medicals on the case were over $5 million, like easily over $5 million. So we have to drop the case and tell the doctors, yeah, you're $5 million. Yeah, you can't get paid on that shit. I will tell a story. You can take this. I did once get a call from an adjuster that was awesome. Speaking of setup case, or the adjuster said, hey man, you have this case involving 3 people. I was like, cool. And he goes, you know, the car that was involved? I was like, yeah, it's a Caddy. He's, yeah, that car has been involved in 10 accidents in the past 3. My first thought was like, how does the car survive being in 10 accidents?
I want that car.
But at the same time, yeah, that's clear evidence that these people have created a career out of doing personal injury. And obviously in that situation, we dropped the client because it was too shady.
Take this strap and very clean.
Yes.
Sorry, I wasn't looking. What? Drop. Would
So if I have, okay, I'll just
The
go
answer
off. So say
What's
I
the
was say I was a client, I wasn't happy with the attorney that I have, and I go to another attorney and they lean my case. Who is paying for them? Is it me, the attorney?
No, totally different question.
Okay, my
Yeah.
bad.
Because the attorneys fight over the lien amount.
Okay.
What you're asking about is the medical lien. So if a
Okay.
case gets dropped for fraud, and there's a medical lien who is responsible for paying, the client is responsible for paying.
correct. However,
In a situation where an attorney swaps the case and there's a lien from the first attorney, the attorneys fight over the amount, but that doesn't affect the client.
correct. So if either the attorney drops a client or if the client decides to go with another attorney, they're not necessarily on the hook for the liens that are on the case. Typically, the attorneys will fight over the
So, Jess, if a case gets dropped and there's a lien, who is responsible for?
typically the clients are. Now, if a client switches attorneys, then the attorneys will fight over the lien amount and try to talk to the medical providers and see what they can do in terms of reduction. Typically, the attorneys on the back end will fight for that lien.
If a case gets dropped, like, for
Then it's
instance,
up to
we
the-
say, yo, you're at fault. Sorry. Theoretically, to be fair, like in a situation like that where we're fighting on your behalf, we say you're treating, the case gets dropped. Our providers aren't going to be like, yo, you got to pay us this money. But in a situation like we drop the case because like you're doing something shady or something like that, you're going to be up.
How often are clients swiped?
Knock on wood. Doesn't happen a lot to us. We try not to swipe from other attorneys. Sometimes we do get cases from other attorneys, but there are people who make a practice out of it. We're just the ones to do it. If you have a good case and you don't have a good relationship with your attorney, we'll talk to you.
And typically, our clients don't leave for another attorney. We don't swipe clients from other attorneys, but sometimes clients aren't happy with the representations that they are currently with. So they do seek outside counsel, and sometimes they do call us. And then we can provide that comfort and that sense of ease that clients are looking for. So yeah, they do come with us. We're not trying to actively take clients from other attorneys because at the end of the day, you want to be happy with the attorney that you use because we're trying to get you back some sense of normalcy pre-accident. So you're trying to get back to work. You're trying to get back to your normal activities. You want to get to your chiros or your doctors, make sure everything's all right. And sometimes you're not happy with the attorney that you're with because they're not doing what they said they're going to do for you. So they do seek us out for help, for guidance, and we do take those cases in, but we're not actively trying to stop clients, but we do get those cases.
And you guys mentioned that we'll fight for a reduction case. Do you guys ever see ridiculous medical prices provider?
Absolutely not. There are never, ever any ridiculous prices from providers. Having said that, there are people who will not agree to reduce their prices. Those people are very frustrated. One of the arguments we always get from insurance companies is that our people charge too much. I can tell you for a fact, we research this, we look at Medicare payout rates, and we look at a lot of factors. Our providers do not charge ridiculous fees because if they did, we wouldn't work with. We wouldn't work with them because we're not trying to overcharge a case. What we're trying to do is get our clients healthy and we're trying to get our clients compensated. So if somebody's being greedy, they're not the provider for us. And simply, we won't work with somebody who's going to overcharge our clients because it's not fair to our clients.
Is there any standard pricing that they provider?
No, I think it's crust. Like you'll find people who will work with you. You'll find people who are like that, and trial and error to figure out what works for you. I think the providers we're with now, clients are allowed to go wherever they want. We provide them people that we like, and we say you can use them. You can go somewhere else, and we'll still take care of your. But by and large, we're not going to work with somebody who's going to overcharge.
What are the most common accident scenarios that you see? Like T-bone, rear end, Running.
Yes. There's a more common. I think we see them all.
Yeah, typically it's the fender benders. It's minor accidents. It's not something that T-bones are usually more, I don't want to say catastrophic, but they're more severe. Just if you picture the positioning of cars or the force is involved in the T-bone, that's a little more severe accident. But typically when you're talking about an accident, it is the fender benders, the rear ending, the minor. It's not a catastrophic injury. We do deal with both, but
Yeah. If you think in criminal, like criminal, what are you going to deal with mostly? You're going to deal with mostly like DUIs, domestic violence cases. Those are the most common cases. So you see a lot of them. Do we do murder cases? Yes. But there's not as many murders as there are DUIs. Thank God. So like we do deal with a lot of minor car accidents, and minor is an objective term, right? Because it might be minor to them, but to our clients, it's not. Common wise, we deal with minor accident. We also deal with,
So if you had a scale 1 through 10, what is the worst accident and the best? 10 being holy fucking shit.
I mean, 10 is holy fucking shit. You might 110 every couple of years. And most of the times you're dealing with a 5 or a 6.
I've never had a case. Holy fucking shit. I've never said.
I mean, I had a guy who was in a truck. Somebody else was driving. It was one of those 18-wheelers. And he was the substitute guy. And dude fell asleep at the wheel, fell over a ditch. My guy's in a bunk in the back. Ditch goes, my guy falls into the roof, then falls into the metal of the bunk bed, breaks his back. That's a holy fucking shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
and then
I think that says that. Are motorcyclists more prone to accidents?
No, but motorcyclists are definitely more prone to serious accidents.
yeah.
Like what?
I would not ride a bike.
Here's my thought
Right.
on motorcycle. You have a lot of faith on other drivers.
Yeah.
When you're a motorcycle rider, you have a lot of faith on other people's driving abilities, and that scares me.
Yeah.
Hey, you can be the best driver in the world, best rider in the world, whatever it may be. You're still reliant on other people's driving habits, and that's what scares me.
Yes.
Because it's just scary. Put your life in someone else's hands when you're riding a two-wheel vehicle. No protection.
But is there a difference between a motorcycle case and a car?
Unfortunately, yes, there's a huge difference between motorcycle cases and car cases. And the reason injuries to motorcyclists are almost always more severe. Even in a situation where the motorcyclist is fault, say he's speeding through an intersection, doesn't realize there's permissive light. For instance, we have that McLaren video that we'll show in a second. But in a situation, if a motorcyclist T-bones somebody, they're going over the side. If a motorcyclist gets T-boned by somebody, they're probably going underneath the car. If a motorcyclist is not wearing a helmet and they hit the sidewalk, their best case scenario is a traumatic brain injury. You know what I mean? Like motorcycles are exposed.
Oh, big son of my.
Oh. Ooh.
Yeah, no, he definitely
Ooh.
had a red light.
Here's how it works. In case anybody's wondering, you enter on a yellow, legal. If change is red while you're in that intersection, enter on a yellow, meaning your path, those two white stripes that are the crosswalk. You enter in your path, it's yellow, you have the right of way.
Here's my thing is, what car was the car coming down? And that was a McLaren.
It's like Toyota,
My
What?
thing-
but either, I guess. It's hitting a McLaren.
if you're driving McLaren,
Oh, it's a Honda.
You're a dumbass for doing that shit, man. Yeah. Because if you're driving a $500,000 car, I would be extra cautious. $250 on eBay. I don't know.
you're driving McLaren.
Wouldn't you be extra cautious?
No,
Like
man,
some
speed-
jackass
I
speeding
speed
down on a
up.
red. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let the jackass go. Then I'm gonna turn. I'm not gonna waste my $250,000 McLaren on a guy that may or may not obey the traffic laws.
Would probably speed. Just saying, maybe you're through. That's
reliable than a McLaren. Huh?
What if the car was a rental? The McLaren.
Oh, that sucks. In that case.
Hope you bought the insurance.
Check.
Actually, if you bought the McLaren, you're still screwed. And the reason, I'll explain it. Most policy in the 25 policy. That means it's $25,000. Most per person, $50,000. That covers the bodily injury. On a 25-50 policy, almost $20,000 property. McLaren considerably is. You have now paid $20,000. I hope you bought it. So insurance, because you're screwed. Like the person, if you McLaren, you're fucked.
But you got to think the rental company that, assuming a rental company is the car, they have to have insurance as well. You would hold.
You're on the hook. The hot.
Well, it's your fault. Yeah, you're on the hook.
No, not fault. Well, 20 grand. The crap. 230 grand.
Who would owe that amount? That's or
It depends. If I was representing
Like the diapers.
the person hit, I would sue the shit out of everyone. But the odds are pretty good. If you didn't get your car covered and it's a rental, they're going to be coming after you.
no. Okay, so for you, Ben and Jess, you guys are both personal injury attorneys. Do you self-represent or
Think about what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
What's the question you're trying to ask? Tell me.
Use your words.
Ben and Jess? So you guys are both personal injury attorneys. When you guys get involved in any personal injury claims, do you represent yourself, or how do you go on representation?
To be fair, yeah, we're going to represent. Like, somebody.
Are you asking if we?
Are you able to represent yourself?
Technically,
Okay.
yeah, you can. But it goes back to the old saying of what's the old
I don't
saying?
get it.
No, person that represents himself for a client.
All right, Ben, that's you.
It's been entertaining. But I'll tell you, we saw some fraud video. We talked about fraud. We talked about things you should do. Should you have a dash cam? Yes. Should you use the insurance company's safe driver stuff? Hell no. And what you should do in a situation where officers don't arrive and you just want to get out there after exchanging information. If there are any questions, please reach out to us. We'll respond almost instantly about whatever questions you have. But the whole focus is on protect yourself, make sure that it's a valid accident, and make sure that you're not being screwed by the other party. Our whole goal is to make sure that you're educated, you understand what's going on, and that you're protected so that when somebody takes your case, you are going to, 1, get better, and 2, get paid. That's what matters. This is From the Beach to the Bar. Thank you so much.